Welcome to Heather Ewing, the CRE Rundown. I am your host, Heather Ewing, and today I have the lovely Laura Fitzgerald. She is a partner with Tom James Company. Laura, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so grateful that you are having me on this morning, Heather.
Oh, it's a true pleasure. So, Laura, I've known you for a few years now through networking in the Madison, Wisconsin community, and you're a hard hitter, a great connector, a vibrant soul, and of course, well dressed, which I always appreciate. So, tell our audience a little bit more about you.
I grew up in Menominee Falls, Wisconsin, and I moved over here to Madison 30 plus years ago. I've been in marketing most of my adult career. And I guess I should tell you, I have three awesome children. We live on the West Side, my husband and I. I got to a point where I was just a little maxed out on marketing. I've done, just a little bit of everything. I was in Yellow Pages for a long time, and then I did some outdoor and some direct mail, and I worked for the newspaper for a little while. And so this kind of took a combination of my passion and my background, and I did work retail 110 million years ago. And this kind of gave me a new opportunity to connect with Madison in a little more intimate environment and literally help people with their, daily events and their clothing and their special events and their weddings. And it's just a really, really fun, cool opportunity.
Oh, definitely. And it's also one of those, I think the creative measures are becoming more and more important, not only from branding, image, but also you see it seeping even more into development, whether it's residential, the commercial arena, which obviously I'm in. And it's really filtrating throughout. So it's something I personally, the inner artist, love seeing and being a part of. But how do you see that shifting our Madison, Wisconsin community? And also, how do you see it shifting from a more national perspective?
Yeah, I think that's a really great question. I would say, when we entered the COVID era, people started to work at home. They started to do a lot of Zoom calls. They were maybe putting something nice on the top and wearing pajama bottoms or sweatpants. And I think that now the whole look and feel of the community in the business world is a little bit more casual. And I think even at events like weddings and funerals, you're seeing people just adapt this a bit more casual look. I think that what we're seeing is that trend swinging back to let's get our game on a little bit. We tend to feel a little better when we look good or we look put together, and we're taken just a little bit more seriously. Yet it's so important to add your personal flavor and your personal style to that. So we are seeing the business community get a little bit more dressed up now that we're back in person. And again, adding a little bit of flair or personality to it is super important.
I agree completely. I'm a big fan of color and style, as you know as well. And that's something that I've always noticed, even though I'm born and raised in the Madison area. So it's hard to imagine it's been 50 years. But something that I've noticed too, and it's probably because we're a smaller city, is that casual, relaxed look. But at the same time, I've always felt it's really important, especially in business, that, you perform at the level that you practice, right? So whether it's the marathon training that I'm in right now, how you dress for business, how you conduct yourself, your level of professionalism, all of those little factors go into your branding. And I think it's so essential. And if you think about it too, something that's always kind of been at the top of my mind is when you see people at networking events that they might be in a newer role, right? That's a higher tier. And you can tell their mindset isn't there yet because they're dressed in a manner that does not correlate to that. And I think it's It's really a form of self-sabotage that people aren't even recognizing, I would anticipate. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I would agree with that 100%. And I had given a talk about, just the image that you portray. And you don't have to be walking around in these super expensive suits to be able to
Mm-mm.
portray an image of confidence and professionalism. And I think more important than anything else, your clothing needs to be clean and pressed and fit properly. And these are things that aren't expensive, but can change the perception that you are giving out to the people that you're meeting. And I do think that people take you more seriously if you're professionally dressed and you have that confidence. And I don't think you can have the confidence if you're not internally and externally matching up, if that makes sense.
It does completely. And I think the word that we're both going for is alignment. You're
Right.
aligning that inner strength, knowledge, confidence with the exterior. So then that way, what you're bringing from the inside is exuded out. And I think too, even if you're not quite there, maybe you're at 90% on the inside, I think up leveling with something of a professional wear does help get you that extra inch. And we all know in business, it's a very competitive arena and it's having the extra 1% sometimes, right? The razor's edge that Napoleon Hill speaks of, the 1% between winning and losing something. So I think it is really important and people probably don't think of it in that manner, but that's where my mind goes. What would you say have been some influential relationships or mentors or just people maybe from a distance that you've followed, worked with that really inspired you to break out of the marketing and to really mix it with your passion and do something a little bit outside of the box?
Ooh, that's a really, really good question. Um, you know, now that I've been in this realm and some of the people that I kind of researched and looked at from a distance, we've got a lady in our company who is now one of the first female regional vice presidents. Her name is Micah Pittman, and she's just really, I think she has 4 children and she's, super busy in the professional world. She's very approachable, always well dressed, always well kept. And yet she makes it look effortless.
Mhm.
The whole thing. And I think it's all, that's another thing that really attracted me to this company is at the core of it, there's gratefulness, there's vision, there's focus on your goals and your family and what drives you and what's going to get you, what's the end game? Where are we going with this? And just in combination with Mike and some of the other people that I've met within the company, that's what changed the game for me. Like, this isn't just a job. This
Mhm.
is, what I get to do with business owners and busy professionals every day. And they're so busy, they don't have time to sit through the mall and, go to get alterations and things like that. Like, it is
Mhm.
truly fun and so necessary, so important to these people to help them look good every day and be ready for any
Definitely.
event that might come along. So it's just it was a game changer for me, and yet all of my background was not for nothing. It is all applying to everything I do every day. So, and it's made me who I am today at this age.
Exactly. And I think that's a really important point is so many times people think that their past experience, careers, even if it's in a completely different arena, there are transferable skills. And to your point that I like to think of it as you have a tool belt of resources in things that you've learned, things you've learned to let go of, the different people from different arenas that you know, and cultivating and maintaining those relationships. And I think that really does propel you forward in your future of wherever you're at in today and what you're focusing on. And something else that I want to dive into was your share of the effortlessness of looking good, because I think it can be that way as well. But I think it's having your basic staples and adding your expression through that and on top of it through accessories and whatever you might have. What are a few tips that you would offer women or men for this effortless ease, Laura?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I actually did a different little presentation on this as well. I mean, I think it's just important, and this is going to sound really basic, but just take a good look in the mirror. Make sure, maybe your hair's in place. Maybe you don't have anything in your teeth. Maybe that, things are, we sometimes our mornings get so crazy. We could button a shirt incorrectly or just things like that. You just want to make sure, take a moment, look into the mirror, and just make sure everything is where it needs to be. We don't, in life, we don't need, a ton of makeup. We don't need expensive clothes. All of that certainly, could be your style, could be your preference. Definitely, helps your inner, whatever makes you happy should motivate you. But just that final look in the mirror and just make sure that's the image you're portraying. Like, that's who you want to be. Yep. This is the image people are seeing. And I'm so happy with it.
Right. And that's where, as far as getting ready too, I've had moments of where it's taken quite a while to get ready and other times where it was quick, kind of like this morning with the bun. I highly recommend the accessory of it, the 5-minute hairdo.
The messy bun is gorgeous. Yes.
It's classic, right? And that's the thing too. I think it's what you're talking about as well is a comfort level with yourself, where you're at, and adding on top of that, or, pulling that expression outward in clothing and things. So, all right, here's another question that just popped into my mind though, too, is if someone has a business trip, right? You're boarding the flight, you're going somewhere else. Are there some basics that they can travel with so they don't have a suitcase of way too many outfits, way too many clothes? Are there just like a few basics that people can pack?
Yeah, absolutely. What I recommend, and our most popular item right now for both men and women, are these knit blazers. They're super comfortable and they're bulletproof. So you can fold them up, put them in the overhead bin. You can throw them in your suitcase, or you can wear them for hours at a time and they don't wrinkle and they're comfortable, but you can dress them up or down. So I recommend, just having like a couple pair of pants that are, maybe one with like a great plaid and one that's a solid, and then they look like a completely different outfit. So having basic items like that you can pack a few different, matching bottoms with, but having something that's pretty versatile and bulletproof as far as wrinkling and things like that, just kind of help the whole trip, move slicker. And you're more prepared, and you're prepared for anything, because with a jacket like this, you can put jeans on with it if you're going out for drinks after work, or you can do a really fancy pair of dress pants and dress it up with a tie. So it's just kind of hits perfect. Every level. Yeah, for sure.
Right. Well, and I like that too about the being able to fold things, and you don't have an hour of ironing when you arrive. So that's a really great sell. And what I'm going to get from you after this podcast is the link for that, because I'd like to link it into the end of it. So then people can go to your website and also see some of these different pieces, get one. So when they're traveling, they don't have the headache and they get to enjoy it. How would you say mindset plays into all of this?
Well, again, that's another really unique aspect of this company. They talk about mindset. Like, we wake up every day and they encourage you. And what I do now is kind of list out all of the things that you're grateful for. And then talk about goals. Look at your goals every day, speak them into existence. And then the mindset of, what am I here to do? What exactly am I doing? Well, here's what I'm doing. I'm helping people with their daily lives, whether it be their professional events or their personal events, that, I'm offering a service that is super helpful while making really deep connections. I'm going to know their birthdays. I'm going to know their wedding anniversaries. I'm going to know that they need something for a Christmas party or a holiday event. whatever it might be. So, that's a pretty cool opportunity. And
Oh,
that's,
I would say very much
mindset.
so.
Yeah. And mindset's obviously at the bottom of all of that.
It is the foundation, which brings us to our last question, Laura, is what does living fully mean to you?
I think living fully is, first of all, a very deep question. And I do think it's something that evolves over time. And living fully really just means, feeling like you're making a difference, whether it be in your job, in your personal life, in the community. Like living fully just means doing, honestly, the very best that you can to your best ability. And I think at the end of the day, if I were able to say that, I could say I lived my life fully.
I would agree. I would say that's a great life. So, with that, Laura, thank you so much for joining us today. And it was lovely connecting, and I'm eager to share this with our audience.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me. And it's always a pleasure spending time with you, Heather.
Thanks, Laura.
Yeah, I'll see you soon.